So when you go there, you actually get 3 dots. Click on those 3 dots and rename your name. Rename. There is an option called pin and rename. So just rename.
So we are live streaming now. So welcome everyone. Welcome Geeta. Yes. So welcome all the ladies, and many of us know each other very closely personally, but across the group, we all are new, and we are meeting for the first time in a live streaming environment. And today we are going to talk about self-love. I think for me, I didn't realize it, I think, until I was 40. Like, what is the importance of self-love? So I'm very happy that I'm doing this live, and all you experts are going to share the importance. So educating women around the world, and these conversations are about empowering women around the world on different topics on a monthly basis. And me and Jasmine are the co-hosts and partners in creating this conversation. So very, very happy and proud that we are here together. So welcome, Yogita. And over to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Ranjini ma'am, for this opportunity. Hi, guys. My name is Jasmine, and I'm a leadership coach as well. So first of all, welcome everyone, and I hope you all are excited. Mute नहीं चलेगा. Please unmute yourself, because आज का speaker है, panelist है, तो थोड़ा सा शोर तो मचना चाहिए, because we are talking about self love, right?
Yes.
So ये energy जो है वो बाहर जाएगी. So yes, that's okay, Kamini ma'am, we are here like this way only. So सबसे पहले I would like to start with Sumiti ma'am. So Sumiti ma'am, before we start with this conversation about self-love, can you please give your brief about yourself, what you do, so that our audience will connect with you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine. First of all, I would like to thank Ranjini and you, Jasmine, because for this opportunity to share my views and my knowledge in this forum regarding self-love. Because something this is very close to me, I would say. I think when in this process, you'll understand why I'm saying that. So, okay, about myself, I'm a practicing psychologist for the past 18 years in Chennai. And apart from that, I run an NGO called Yuvati, a forum for women and children mental well-being. So the vision I have for our country is to shift from being a happiness country from 137th to at least first 30th. That is my biggest vision I have in my country. And I'm on the process, I'm in the journey. And now I'm jumping into, apart from my counseling, therapy and giving for the clients, I'm jumping into online business coach for creating happy families. So I believe strongly that, by create happy families, that is going to be creating happy society. In that way, I think India will go forward. Thank you.
That's really amazing to hear from you. It's like a great inspiration for every one of us. So tell me what this thing, आपको जैसे आपने बताया that this thing really inspire you to have a happy families around us, and then we have a happy thing. So what is self-love for you? How do you describe it?
I think self-love is more about self-care, which we always say. But when we say that love is something, an emotion that we believe. But I believe that love is a state of connect with your own higher self, where we feel that we feel accepted and recognized, and loving ourselves unconditionally, accepting ourselves unconditionally, because that is what every individual are striving for. If you take any problem, people are going out and trying to gain that acceptance from recognition from the parents, from society. Anything you take up, it's end up there only. And you want to be accepted. So your self-love is more about accepting me as I am for what I am. But same time, it's a journey, I would say, because we all have our dislikes and like. All of us have, and we have a part of us we don't like ourselves. So it is a journey. We discover ourselves and we connect to our true self. So here, this takes a lot of self-care, where giving a priority, I am important. So if I'm going to feel happy from myself inside, then I can share my love to everyone, make the others happy. Because since my childhood, my vision was always to make others happy. Then I realized that I will fill my cup. So self-love is all about focusing on what the best version that you love to see yourself. And in the process, you help others also.
That's really amazing insight. कोई और speaker कुछ इसमें value add करना चाहेगा? Anybody has any thought about this self-love? और अब सब लोग agree हो, we all are on same note.
Yes, I agree with Smriti. Like, I often run into an argument with my mother. Like, it's not about serving others always. It's about it may look selfish to think about yourself, but self-love is a better word, I can say. And when you take care of yourself, you can do more for others. That's the key. Like if you guys have traveled in airplane, you might have heard that first the oxygen mask has to be put on you before you put on others, because only when you live you can help other people survive, or let them live. So that's the same thing. Do it for yourself first and then for others, and you can do more, much more than what you think. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share.
That's great.
Because more power and more energy to us. Because mostly I've observed people, women are saying, oh, I get tired. And the moment they get tired, they can't do anything. So the more power and energy, then you can really reach out to people, connect people, serve many people, more people.
So for the Hindi audience, हम ये कह सकते हैं कि जो सेल्फ लव है, जो सेल्फ केयर है, उसको इतना ज्यादा सेल्फिश नोड में मत लो, क्योंकि अगर हम खुद से प्यार नहीं करते तो हम किसी और से प्यार नहीं कर सकते, और जब तक हम अपने आप से प्यार नहीं करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली वी विल बी इन अ डेफिशिएंसी. तो जब डेफिशिएंट हैं तो हम लोग आगे कैसे स्प्रेड करेंगे? सो दैट्स द रियल मोटो ओवर हियर, कि स्पेशली टू द वुमेन्स, क्योंकि हम जितनी भी लेडीज हैं हमारे अराउंड में, हम लोगों ने सबने देखा है, ग्रैंड माँ हो चाहे हमारे मॉम्स हो, सबसे पहले वो लोगों की केयर करने में लगे होते हैं. खुद की केयर के लिए जीरो टाइम, नथिंग एट ऑल. सब ठीक है, हो जाएगा, कर लेंगे, पार्लर जाना है, छट परे, पैसे लग जाएंगे. सो दैट काइंड ऑफ स्टफ वी ऑलवेज हियर. बट इट्स अ टाइम कि हम लोग सब लोग चेंज करें, अपनी केयर को खुद ज्यादा करें. सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर एडिंग द वैल्यू.
I want to add one thought here, that if you want to show someone how to love you, it's better you start loving yourself first, and then automatically people know how to treat you. So that's one important step.
Great, Sana.
Yeah, I also wanted to add something on what Sana said. So it's always a mirror. So whatever we feel on the inside, that is always reflected in our external reality. So I completely agree with what Sana said, that the love that you feel for yourself, the energy that you have for yourself, that is being reflected in the way others treat you as well. So it's a mirror.
Great. Thank you for adding value, Anamika and Sana. If somebody wants to add something else, I guess we are good to go. So Sumiti ma'am, I just want to understand, how does it impact our lives? आज जैसे आपने बोला है, can you give some example into that so that it could be highlighted?
Yeah, actually, I think self-love is something, as it was the top priority, because the moment we start focusing on, how to honor ourselves, most people, we try to honor others, we try to please others. Since a childhood, it's always a natural tendency to make others happy. But this is something, a first step that you take to honor ourselves. So how do you honor is, we develop a code of honor. Each of us should have a personal code of honor, like how we have for companies and things, that each one should be clear about their ideal set of behaviors or their value system. So once they're able to identify this, and that helps to create a boundary for you, so that you can communicate with people. That is the reason where we all suffer. Many women, what I've found from experience. So that develops after setting a values, you're able to communicate to people, such a way that how you want you to be them to treat you. Because mostly it comes, you suffer in relationship, not anywhere, not about success or any achievement. We suffer in relationships only, mostly. So that is very essential where self-love starts. So when you start respecting and honoring yourself, you teach others also. In that way, you influence people around you very much. You influence because you model them, your children, everyone, how you carry yourself. That is the first thing I would say. That brings a lot of impact, not only within you, with others also, in immediate family members. It influences really. And more importantly, it helps you to bring out your potential or your best version, who you want to be. So here I want to tell something very important is the self that I'm talking about should be very clear. It's not the ego self. It's about your soul self, your true self. So many people get confused. They say that self-love is like where I'm pampering myself, I'm giving importance, and they try to go into a kind of a self-loathing mode. So the difference is why people that time also, I think many of us can relate this, and we sometimes get disconnected with others. But here, when I say true self, that is very important, not the ego self. So how do you honor and how do you develop or how do you pamper or whatever you do for yourself is about your true self. That is why the code of honor comes there. So this code of honor brings the integrity and adds value to you. And that is where people start respecting you for who you are, not for what you achieved, what you did. It's about who you are.
That's really great. So you have mentioned it's already like this will also influence our relationships.
Yes, very much.
If we are like taking care of ourselves, then it's going to affect it. So even you have touched one point that it will help us to grow our careers as well. Self growth means we are growing. So how does it impacting, and what kind of practice we can do to grow ourselves, basically?
Yeah, see, we have according to me, 3 levels of power are there. We have a physical power, we have this mental power, and then we have the spiritual power, where we are always thriving ourselves. So some people more focus on physical power alone. So I would say, because it happened in my life when I started, I was focusing only on mental power. So there was no looking back. I used to keep on having goals. I set goals, and every year I used to work on it, and I keep on achieving. That's no problem, no, because only me, myself, and something outside. So there was no issues for me. But when it came to the physical power, there is your body. Many women ignore it. There's no self-love, lack of as I told you, the problem is about lack of energy for many women. So this integration of mind and body doesn't happen. So as you told, career-wise, we can succeed, but still somewhere in a physical body, there is a kind of, a disconnect where you don't feel a kind of, a kind of a holism, like, joy. Maybe you are happy about your success and everything. So this power, this personal power that we bring has to happen at 3 levels. So spiritually, mentally, and physically. For that awareness has to happen. So the self-love is the one way where it brings that, okay, how much do I love my body, my physical body, the image that I carry inside? It's not about how others see my body. It's about how I feel inside. So somewhere I think, as you told, in my career also, it is very important that I feel good at 3 levels. Physically also, in body also, I feel I have a happy body. There are people, like they feel very nice. Mentally, intellectually, they are so well good, but not emotionally, feeling wise. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. There is a kind of a disconnect. So I think self-love helps you to integrate your mind and body in such a way that you move into the super conscious level where doing becomes more easier because you're aligned inside with your inner purpose. You're very mindful and you're in the present moment, and therefore the flow state starts, and therefore things become easier than struggling and putting so much of hard work. Since there's no alignment, self-love helps to align our inner purpose and the outer purpose. The inner purpose is being in the present. That is very important, and then the outer purpose, which is a secondary purpose. For example, I'm doing the right now show here. I'm just here right now, presently, not focusing anything. So this becomes my primary purpose rather than how this will be, what will happen if I don't do properly. Like, instead of that, that will become a secondary purpose. So when this two becomes, aligned, I think that is the best thing can be done in life. That gives you a lot of joy and peace.
Great. I guess ये बहुत in depth चला गया. So
Yeah,
anybody would like to add some point into this part? Tripti, you want to add something? Because you are like very much inside into it. I know you are like not here as a speaker, but still if you want to add something, we are welcome.
Sure. So what Sumiti ma'am said, I resonate with it. However, to simplify for audience and for others, for me, I feel self-love journey started with self-talk, like what I tell to myself. And when we talk about energy, I started identifying and recognizing my energy levels throughout the day. I actually started noting down the emotion, the energy which is actually in motion. So what we have, what we experience, what we feel throughout the day actually defines. So self-love actually accelerated the whole journey of, I would say, energy management. And it actually accelerated my energy throughout the day. It used to be 80%, 70% negative and 30%, 20% positive, which is typically most of us who's working woman, who's mother, who's daughter, wife, who's playing different roles. All of us go through this roller coaster ride throughout the day, these emotional ups and downs. Sometimes we are very happy, sometimes we are very sad, and suddenly we don't know why we are sad. And I realized when I started practicing, like how Ranjini ma'am said, that I also got present to self-love in my 40s. When I actually hit the 40, I realized one of my friend, actually, she used to keep telling me about self-love. And I used to always take it very lightly. मतलब एकदम मजाक में लेती थी मैं उसका, जब वो बोलती थी मुझे कि self-love exercise करो, mirror talk करो, and a lot of other activities which she's expert of, and she used to tell me. And I always used to joke it, and मैंने कहा नहीं यार, इसका मुझे नहीं लगता, ये तो self obsession hota hai. And I used to tag and title those things, in a different ways. And then I realized that I'm labeling, I'm judging, I'm doing a lot of things which I'm not supposed to do. But I was not doing it to her, I was doing it to myself. And then when I stopped doing it, I realized that self-love is going up, up, up. The level of discovering myself actually accelerated 4 times, I would say 10 times. Secondly, to simplify and sum it up in less than 30 seconds is, it helped me build and create a strong bonding with my children. I have 2 young daughters, and मुझे लगता है I don't know सब, but मैंने जब वो छोटे बच्चे थे तब इरिटेशन करना, शॉर्ट टेम्पर होने की वजह से काफी सारी चीजें, जैसे कहा सुमिति ने कि ईगो माइंड जब प्रेजेंट हो जाता है, जब हम बहुत मल्टीपल रोल्स करते हैं, मल्टीटास्किंग करते हैं, हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं, और फिर कभी कभी वो अपने रिलेशन पे हैम्पर होता है. बट विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस सेल्फ लव एक्सरसाइज, I actually started creating and looking them as an individual. And when I started loving myself, I started loving them. As a mother, we always have that love, selfless love for them. But वो self love exercise करने के बाद उनको अलग perspective से देखना, और उनको जज नहीं करना, उनको लेबल नहीं करना, उनको छोटी छोटी बातों पे इरिटेट नहीं होना, वो जो मुझे लगता है कि रिलेशनशिप का फाउंडेशन है. क्योंकि वहां से शुरू होता है उनका, बच्चों का एक माइंडसेट बन जाता है कि मम्मी तो ऐसी है, डैडी तो ऐसे ही है. तो वो मैंने देखा that I changed. I could do that in 1.5 years, and I'm proudly, I would say that I have a very, very strong bond and extraordinary relationship with my children. Yes, it helped me with my husband and my parents as well. So, and I feel eventually in other areas of life also it reflects when you start loving yourself. So yes, it helped me tremendously. So to simplify, I feel that the example, like my daughter, who has certain way of working, कैसे कहते ग्रुप में ही खेलना है उसको, अकेले नहीं खेल सकती है. And I always used to say that, अरे आप टीम में खेलो, लीडरशिप ये वो सारा ज्ञान जो पता है वो सारा हम दे देते हैं, सोचते हैं कि उन्होंने करना चाहिए, उनके लिए अच्छा है. But then I reflected saying that I was expecting her to play that role because I couldn't perform, or maybe I am performing it and I'm thinking that it is working for me, it will work for her as well. But self-love is actually beyond that. It's self-love is giving space to yourself as well as to others, treating them as a spiritual being. And I feel after self-love exercise, my spiritual understanding, my I would say self-discovery to hai, but spiritually bhi kafi awakening or enlightenment hua hai, experience hua hai. So yes, I'll sum it up like this here. I mean, it will be too long then, but yes, I have multiple experiences and I have lot to share on this self-love because I'm practicing for more than 2.5, 3 years now. And it's an everyday ritual basically for me. So yeah,
Definitely,
thank
we
you
will
so
ask
much
you
for
for the
giving me this
tips.
platform.
Definitely, we
matlab,
will ask
I'm
for the
really-
exercises and tips.
I'm really grateful for Ranjini ma'am to sharing this particular meeting's details with me, and I could join here and share a little bit of what I knew about self-love. But thank you so much. I'm deeply and humbly grateful. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to hear from every one of you guys. So coming back to Sumiti ma'am, because you are expert into this field, I want that आपकी तरफ से क्या advice है हमारे users के लिए, audience के लिए? What do you want that how they can improve their self-love?
I think this is a very nice question because it'd be very useful for the the people who are viewing this program, where I really practiced. As I told you, I was a person till my 30s, age of 30. I was completely opposite, pessimistic and very low self-esteem. And I was depressed twice also. So I'm the right person, I could say. So how I transformed myself from a person who lacked complete self-love. So what I did was exactly the roadmap, I would say, is first defining my meaning of my life. I asked myself, what is the purpose? See, purpose is a very big word. I'm not going to go into the big purpose. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Why am I here, first of all? What am I doing here, first of all? Simple question. I just didn't come eat and sleep and, go away. No, there is some purpose because, this universe, I think all of us know 99.9%, it's just empty space. Just only 0.01% we are matter. So what is the purpose here? That was a question I asked myself. So it was a journey for me. I didn't get answer at all. But I told myself there is a meaning for it. So I'll find it out in the process. But I set some goals, which I'm good at. So I was very good in motivating, I'm very good in talking. My mother used to say I'm a talkative. So I thought, okay, that I can do very well. So why can't I develop it? So then I studied MSc psychology. So I went step by step. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, put a question, because people don't ask questions to them. They always take like this, go to the 5 organs, sense organs, and then they get cluttered. All your conscious mind gets cluttered, and then at least the subconscious already there are programs which is already programmed, and it becomes a mess, your life. So instead of that, stop listening, stop going with what people say. You have to ask questions often to yourself. Is this thought 100% true? Am I thinking what I'm thinking right now is 100% like that? You have to ask yourself. People don't do that. They go with the mental activity is already there. So how do I do that? Is stopping the mental activity. You have to ask question, which is slow down your mental activity, which is your ego. So then you bring your thought process, your new thought process, because this new thought process only becomes your future version, or else you be a stuff of the past. That is what I did. So first step is asking questions. Why are you here? And allow yourself to find your purpose in the pathway. Second, setting goals, small goals, not big goals. Because sometimes, when we have very unrealistic goals, unrealistic goals are very important because, it helps you to go with excitement. Like how I said right now, India, I want to bring it to this level. Really, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know. But I know that I want to do it. That's it. So I believe in that my higher power will guide me. So that kind of trust we have to have in ourselves. So you have to trust yourself. You cannot trust anyone in the world. in the sense I'm telling, no, a lighter way, I'm telling that don't trust. I'm not telling don't trust, because people nowadays, youngsters, are always telling I can't trust anyone who walks in my clinic, So that is very frustrating, to know that. So instead of that, what I'm trying to say, let understand that I can trust myself first of all, believing in myself. That is what I did. So then establishing small routine. Like I started changing the morning routines. So I get up by very early by 5 o'clock. I get up by 6 o'clock, 1 hour earlier, so that you start building a kind of ritual where you bring a change in your brain wiring, because when you start firing new neurons and you form pathways, your brain structure changes, and when your brain structure changes, your personality changes. Okay, and that is how you can see your new version. Or else you're going to live a very automatic mode, and you cannot see any change, and then you get frustrated. And there are people who start doing exercise and then immediately they'll stop off. The reason is they're not clear what is the purpose behind of doing exercise, first of all. So we have to know whatever you start doing, any task you do, ask a simple question: why do I do what I do right now? This question has to come again and again. Why do I? Because you have to, sometimes you cheat ourselves. We'll tell, oh, I'm doing this because I want to make my parents proud. I'm doing this because I want to become like this. I want to become. No, that will not be the purpose at all. So you have to keep on dig yourself. I'll give an example to understand. When I was writing a book, last time I published a book, Be the Happy Mom. So that time, I was somewhere procrastinating a little bit. I didn't write my book. So because the purpose was not intact, the inner purpose. Outer purpose, write the book. But what was the inner purpose? No clarity. So I dig myself, I went inside, then I found the inner purpose. I want to stop the suffering of every mom out there. Like how I underwent suffering as a mom, and I transformed today as a happy mom. So I want the women out there also to become happy mom. And when I started connecting with the bigger vision, I finished my book within 2 months.
That's great.
So that is very important. So like that, everyone has to ask this question: why am I doing what I'm doing right now? This simple question is enough. And then maybe, as I told you, small changes you have to make, not a big changes, because sometimes you give up easily. And then what else did I do? Yeah, my priorities. What are my priorities? For that, as I told you, code of honor is very important. You must know what you value. What is my value? For example, respect is my value. I found it. And love is my value. And motivation is my value. And fun is value. So I have to see whether I'm having fun in my life. If I value fun, I must ensure that every day Sumati is having fun. And that is Sumati. So like that, first of all, you have to identify what are your values, and then try to see how are you honoring the value every day. If you don't honor it, then you lose yourself. You don't connect with your true self. So everyday basis, if you want to love yourself, we honor others. We say, we go and fall in love with the boy or with everyone. We say, I love you, I love you. We go and tell everyone love you. But are we telling ourselves, So that is what I started doing. I compare myself, okay, what I do to love others. I started doing that to me. So like maybe what is my likes and dislikes? I started to identify. So if I do, as I think Priti was telling so nicely, the mirror. Whenever I see a situation outside, whenever I see a person, someone where I resist, where I don't like or I'm very discomfort, I can see that part in me. So I used to clean it. I used to work on that emotion. Suppose I see anger, I don't like it. I saw there was an anger stored in me. So I started working on it. So like that only I started to. So for people who are looking here, how do you do it? Very simple. Take a deep breath 3 times, conscious breathing, and again change your negative thought. Because that time when you're having a negative emotion, you'll be naturally having a negative thought, because thought and emotions goes together. So immediately you have to take a deep breath and accept, you just experience the emotion. Don't try to resist it. Because many people, what we do, try to escape. We try to go to the phone, we try to talk to someone. But I would say better we allow the emotion like a transmuter. The body is a transmuter. You have to allow to pass through. And for that, you need a lot of discomfort to be there. You have to allow. That means a lot of courage. So then you change the thought process. This is how you cleanse your subconscious. So like that, I started doing it. This is how I did it. And then slowly shifted my, goals, be very flexible. You cannot have only a fixed goal. Sometimes you have to change your goals also. Like this, I didn't imagine I'll be doing an online coaching. I didn't know this, but somewhere it's a process. It take me here. So the outcome, okay, let it be very clear, but no attachment. no attachment. So whatever we have, let us be clear, but taking step by step, that is very important. One day at a time, only one day at a time. That is very important.
Sumati ma'am, your speech is so motivating. I want to read your book, How to Help
Be the
Every
Happy
Mom.
Mom. It's available in Amazon.
She has given all the content, course material, everything in this slide.
Everything here. She is just unstoppable, actually.
So
I'm a giver.
If I may, I want to present my version of self-love, if I can.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Ranjini ma'am. Thank you, Jasmine ma'am. Thank you, Sumati ma'am, for allowing me this opportunity. So as a communications business specialist, author of a book of poems called Avant the Pari, and I'm also a founder and editor of First Hand from Sana. This is my version, and you tell me, Sumati ma'am, if I'm doing it right. I see it self-love as a combination of spirituality, yoga, sports, religion, luxury, please, because I consider some beauty spas as that. Medicinal supplements like omega. Then mental rewiring, which you touched upon, Sumati, which is extremely correct, via mental health or psychology counselor, or independently if you can rewire, cleanse and refurbish those thoughts. And also some self-expression therapies that we have always been doing as hobbies, like writing, art, dancing, singing. All of this, as I see, as a good mix to work with. So what do you think?
Yeah, you have given everything as a package, all the, mental toughness, the emotional toughness, and the spiritual power, and even the physical power, and your inner child, how to pamper inner child, everything. It's wonderful.
Anything else, please do add and enrich our audience today.
I guess she has added so much value. Now I really want to hear from Kamini ma'am, what is self-love for you?
Thank you, Jasmine. Listening to Sumati, it was like I was drawn into a world where I was recalling and recollecting, like, how did I end up in this place? What's in it for me? And so let's start from my journey, and then maybe somewhere down in the line, we will figure out whether I call it a self-love or whatever it is, because words can change. It's only the feelings, right?
Yes.
So when I started this journey, I was nowhere near in the place of coaching. I'm talking about the year 2010. I did this for myself. I started to learn about NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and I found a mentor and I followed her, and I was there in that, like, wherever she showed up, I would be there. In fact, I went to all the countries wherever she toured, so that it was like, something like a magnet attracting a person. So I was attracted to it because somewhere down the line, I discovered that, oh, I have been putting myself in the back burner, because so it's also somewhere the grounding was, where the parent also says, take care of your people, take care of your family, take care of your children. So the other came into the life in the process where I was dividing myself into pieces and literally scattering myself, thinking that's the best job I should be able to do. Something was feeling lost. At one time, when my daughter was somewhere between 8th and 10th standard, she asked me a question. Just a very simple question. She said, Ma, what's your dream? What were you dreaming about? And I looked at her and I was stunned and I was shocked because I cannot remember my dreams. I looked at her and I said, I don't know, maybe they changed. No, I don't remember my old dreams because they don't matter anymore. They don't make sense anymore to where I am right now. And that's when suddenly it struck me, like, from a person who was always ready to do a lot of tearjerker things and all and feel sad for myself and all, I kind of took something back for me. I don't know whether I took it as a power, I took it as a love, I took it as whatever I took it. But then when I got into this journey, that's when I connected with children first. Because I needed to know how to, and I was always connecting with children better than with older people. So I connected with children. When I connected with children, I was the one who came between the parent and the child, telling the parent, we are a team. We are never going to be an opposing thing. We are going to be part of a team and we are going to work for the child. Most of the time, what happened was the child was fine. Most of the children are fine. Even now, I will still say children are actually fine. They are doing very well, whatever they are doing. It is okay with lot of ideas and all those peer pressure and the society telling us this is how it should be. We putting that pressure on the child and not allowing the child to be what it should be. So then afterwards, I realized that this is where I needed to figure out something more. So shift in path happened. I learned something about three principles. I went and did some more coaching practices and some more, transformative coaching. I called myself a coach. It took me 2 years to even accept that, that pretender thing. But can I call myself a coach? What will others think? Will they laugh at me? Kind of a thing. Then slowly I said, yes, I am a coach. And then slowly, when I started to accept it, it is difficult. Like sometimes at one time, we stop looking into the mirror and seeing ourselves because we are so tired, so in a rush. We forget that we have not done. We look at hair as hair, we look at eyebrows as eyebrows, we look at eyes as eyes. We have not seen the whole person. And when I saw the whole person, when I made that eye contact, I suddenly felt like crying. I was not contacting this person in any way. All the emotions came out. And that's when I thought, oh, so you know what? I started to work on myself. COVID actually, I treated it as a boon because that was a time when online happened and I figured out online. I worked with each child separately. That was one. Two is I was able to give myself some time, keeping ourselves so busy here, we forget that we need some time for ourselves. I was able to give myself the time. I worked on my health, my physical health. From being a diabetic who was on insulin and rate in going up, I brought it down to zero insulin and now only minimal medication. And I'm trying to work with going towards zero medication. That's where some amount of my, my own mental and my own whatever comes up because I love eating, right? I love cooking. So I do go off track sometimes, but I don't derail myself. I come back on track. So while I was doing that, I started to work with people who said, ma'am, whatever you have got, I want it for myself. That's when I started to see a change in path to understanding that. So I called myself mental well-being coach. See, all these are just titles. It makes sense to somebody, it makes sense. Fantastic. Okay. Then afterwards, sometime after later, I called myself women wellness coach. Then I said, no, this is also okay. Suddenly I realized I'm working one-to-one, not as a group. I'm working one-to-one as a person who shows up. It can be a man, woman, or child. So suddenly I saw that they were actually shifting themselves from where they were to what they are now. It's almost like if I was giving a metaphor, it is like they were going to be creepers which needed a support and all that system that goes along with it, to becoming suddenly realizing, no, they were not, they were a young bush which can become a tall tree. Okay, so when that happens, I realized I can call myself a personal power coach. So that's what I'm right now calling myself. Now about self-love. Sorry, I'm coming now. And I may have to call off in another 5 minutes. So I'll try and finish in 2 minutes. It's about the matter of being, where I am being as a person. If I am a mother, who am I being as a mother? If I'm a friend, who am I being as a friend? If I'm a teacher, who am I being as a teacher? If I'm a person, who am I being as a person? So when I start looking at my being, lot of things change because sometimes the finger is pointing towards me and asking, what are you being just then when you talk rudely or when you got a thought, it was not nice. It's like you point a finger and three fingers are pointing towards you kind of a thing. So that's like a thing. And that's when I started to look at anger because I come from a place where my grounding became a very angry grounding. I was not able to handle my own anger. And I was meeting children who were also angry, who were expressing it in different ways, destructive ways. So when I started to work with the children and we both discovered, it's a part of self-discovery. Sometimes children are showing the mirror to us and suddenly you see the reflection and you do not look what you see. And you have no choice, but you have seen the reflection. Now you have to do something about it. So that's how it has been. It's an ongoing journey. In fact, when the conversation had started, there was a small child here. So I was saying bye-bye to them because they were working here, different levels of children at different abilities. But the belief is they will all do wonderfully. Just give them the tools. They let them understand about self and they will become better in whatever they will. Thank you for the opportunity.
I guess it's really nice to listen about your story. It's so inspiring, like how you are discovering yourself and you have a different meaning of self-love for yourself, I guess. It's like journey by journey, step by step, you are discovering and you are saying all this. So really thank you, ma'am. So before you leave this session, I would like to ask you, what is your advice for our audience in short?
I don't give advice.
Then
advice.
what is your message? Let's face the question.
Just ask yourself, what am I doing? It's like yesterday, what struck me
Jasmine, you
was,
have to pay the fees to get the advice now.
Yes.
it's like this. Everything that happens to us is only like a storm in the teacup. It's like a chapter or a page in a book for our life. So it's not the whole book itself, right? So if we remember that, we can turn the page and we can start writing a new chapter or a new story or a new page or whatever. So the storybook will complete only when we are done with life. But as long as there is life, give ourselves a chance. Let us see if we can do something to change track or do something for shifting or whatever we need to do, figure it out. Like I worked on my health. Imagine that. I gave up a lot of things which I thought I will never be able to give up. Being a South Indian, giving up curd was something like, oh no, hey, I will not give up curd. But I gave up curd because I needed to work on my health to figure out whether if I give up curd, it will help me overcome a lot of things in that form. So each one will experiment with their own life, be willing to, of course, because many of us hold steadfast to something because of the fear factor. But what if I let go? What will happen if they will treat me differently? Because a they versus me happens. There is no they versus me, it's us. So let me figure out myself. Let them figure out themselves. I'm not here to figure out for anybody. People will figure out. Oh, okay, Jasmine will come back. I always call myself a deep listener. I don't talk so much. Unlike Sumati, I don't have so many words to talk all the time. It's always about listening because it's a person who has to come and have insights. And when they have insights, we work wonders. That's it. It's always insight based.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Kamini.
Thank
So
you.
who wants to
Anjali.
go
Thank you for
next?
creating this platform.
Yeah.
Happy Women's Day to all of you. Mother's Day for
Yes. I think it's a good time. We are on the verge of Mother's Day and a lot of mothers speaking. I think this topic was apt because only mothers know the value of the time they left behind. And when you reach that 40 and 50, then you rework on yourself. Like I did. I made sure my daughter doesn't lose those years and not treating herself the way I did. So I think we are a good reminder to the young generation that it's not about being selfish, to love yourself, giving priority to yourself, honoring yourself. And when we change our perspective about ourselves, the whole world and community around us sees us different. Yes, thank you for creating all this conversation, Kamini. Thank you so much. So who is next? Who wants to share? Sana, you're done?
Yes.
You have to add anything, or I'll give it to Anamika too. Go ahead.
I would have asked a quick question.
Yeah.
Can we say that feminism is one way of self-love that women need to take into account as they mature into women? Anyone can answer. There's something that popped in my mind.
I would quickly answer this. That I have a different perspective about feminism. It's not I would say it is different from self-love. It has a different bias and agenda around feminism. But self-love is something so pure. Can be adopted by anybody. It's not just for women. It is there for men as well. It's a fundamental phenomenon of being a human being. To acknowledge your own being. God has created you so unique and so.
I think while we were talking about Women's Day and then feminism came in my mind.
Yeah. So
yeah, feminism as in with mothers.
Yeah, often this is collided. Often it is crossed like people talking about women are feminist. No, it's not that way. It's not. They are two different topics, and no, maybe I don't want to bring it here because this will dilute the conversation. But anyways, I'll have other people to add to this. For me, it is completely two different perspectives. Yeah.
Add my perspective and I'll log off please because I have another online going to happen. The thing is this, I look at these labels as just they are labels. And so if I attach a lot of value or meaning to it and I'm going to be stuck with it and finally it's going to be like a hardwired thing, it will make me difficult to move my position and I will have to continuously keep justifying if I move or if I don't move, why I'm not. I don't want to be answerable to anybody. I'm like a free bird or the wind. I will flow whichever way I want to flow. The direction will be determined by me. So I don't work with labels. And that's what I look at this, even feminism as, because I actually don't understand it much. Because when we go talk about it, it becomes like, oh, where did I enter? What did I enter? Did I have a good understanding of it? It's about one person to another person's understanding of it. So it's pure label. Thank you.
That's really great, I guess, Tamni ma'am. So thank you so much for coming on this podcast, and we are really happy to see you over here. So thank you once again. So let's move to Anamika. Anamika, I really want to understand what is your perspective on self-love.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me into this podcast. It really means a lot because this topic is very close to me. My journey with self-love started with self-hatred. I have hated myself all my life. And I thought that it was normal until and unless I found my purpose. So I've had a struggle with depression and suicidal thoughts. And I battled it for 4-5 years constantly. And I thought that being critical to myself is normal. So when I found my purpose, when I started doing the inner work, then I found my purpose. So I feel when I started working upon myself, things started happening for me. Things started flowing to me. I didn't know that I wanted to be a coach, but that's how things happen. So what I would like to add here is self-love is self-acceptance. It's acceptance of your healed and unhealed parts together. It's accepting your broken and fragmented parts. I don't believe that anybody is broken, but I'm just giving a normal kind of label which is often used. I feel what we associate self-love is with appreciating ourselves only when we are doing good or when we are meeting our goals and achievements, when we are achieving a lot. But I feel self-love is more about accepting and loving ourselves even when we are down, even when we are not achieving our goals. It's being kind and gentle to yourself. So it has to start with self-forgiveness. Then it comes to self-acceptance, and then it comes to self-love. So I feel self-love is more about accepting yourself for everything that you are. Even when you are procrastinating, even when you are not achieving your goals, because love is unconditional. So that's my take on self-love.
Really
and
nice.
I feel, yeah, there is one more thing that I want to add. It's often seen that a lot of our self-hatred issues or self-criticism stems from our childhood. So I feel inner child healing is really important if you want to tame that inner critique that is inside your head and that keeps you from loving yourself. So you have to really take care of the self-talk that you do. So that would be really helpful.
Great. I guess Sumati ma'am, I would really want to hear from your perspective, जो अभी अनामिका ने बोला है on this, like कि self love में बहुत सारी चीजें होती है. People start firstly hating themselves. और ये cases बहुत ज़्यादा है for the depression, especially people going into this depression zone. They don't accept their failures. They only accept themselves when they are getting successful, when they are achieving their goals. So if you can give this small message to the young generation, that's really helpful because it's a major issue with this kind of generation.
Yeah, Very true. I think Anamika said very well about, the how from one extreme to another extreme going, hatred to love. So hatred is same as love, actually, in fact. Uh, just like how, light and the darkness both are same, where we say extreme energy. So here, even I have done the same thing with me earlier. So if a person who has this energy of hatred, it's very important that they are lacking the identity, a lack of identity. So that identity is about who I am. They should know about, what kind of person I am, what kind of qualities I have, what am I good at, so that is very important. So once they know about their both, what I'm not good, what I'm good at, and what are my positive qualities, what are my negative qualities, in that way they're able to see in front of them, and then start to accept it. If you're able to accept the other person whom you love so much and they have a negative quality, still ignore it, right? We do with
Right.
others. And why can't we do with ourselves? So that is why she was telling about self-talk. So this is where a journey starts. Once you, first of all, know your identity, how to create your identity, who you are. So then you have to ask yourself who you want to be, first of all, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter. So each role, you have to ask yourself, what kind of identity I want to create, who I want to be, so that I could become the best version. It's not about what others see me. It's about how I want to see myself. And that becomes easier for me because under my control. Who I want to be is under my control. So in that way, I no need approval, no need of any kind of validation of others. And that is the biggest stressor. So I think, so what she said was very nicely, she put across, each and everything, improving your self-talk. That is the first step, in fact, I would say. I told a mental activity is going on. And that is where we have to stop, I said. So, and then identifying the gap, where I am and where I need to go, that they have to identify. And that makes it more easier for them to work on themselves, instead of others coming and telling them and then advising them, always pushing them, always, that is not necessary at all. So that is a way an adult has to take their life on their own. And more important, I think, letting go, she said very well, forgiving ourselves. Many will carry baggages, the past. It's very important. You have to know the past doesn't matter at all, because your personality only is going to create your personal reality. That you must understand. So anyway, this all the past baggage of people, whatever people or any incident, whatever, it's very difficult. I know it's very difficult, but moment you realize, take a decision. I want to forgive myself, and that is where self-love starts. So the baggage you have to leave and then start your life again. So this is what the emotional release I was telling about.
That's really well explained, I guess.
Yeah, becoming emotionally independent. That is what I want to say. Emotionally, you have to be having a mental freedom. We want freedom from everyone. But
Right.
are you mentally free? Are you emotionally free? Are you physically free? That is very important. That you have to ask yourself.
I want to share one final thought that I'm inspired by as a philosophy of living. That when you are given a choice to be either an original or a copy, I on a personal level want to be an original and give myself enough love that I don't have to ever depend on any other's choice of who I should be. So that is what I would classify as perfect self-love. Thanks.
Amazing, सना. मैं यही पूछने वाली थी तुमसे कि like एक चीज और जानना चाहूंगी before we will end up or sign off for the day. Like, what is your thought कि जैसे तुम लोगों की young generation है, you guys are really young and upbringing जो इंडिया का है, what you thought about, क्योंकि तुम लोग भी अपनी एज में फ्रेंड सर्कल में देखते होगे काफी लोग सेल्फ लव को डिनाई करते हैं. So is there any incident you remember कि जहाँ पे you helped someone, or is there any story you would like to share about, क्योंकि जब आप लोगों का struggle है वो एक अलग level का है. In today's era there is lot of competition, right? And it's people, or especially young people, try to conform. They're not creating their originality. They're trying to copy other persons. So I guess you do have friends like that.
Yeah, I see that there are friends who are quite outspoken about what they want, but due to parental pressure, they have to be different versions of themselves. But I think even after all that process of listening to parents and being also oneself by being aligned to their virtues, they become a good, a combination of both. So you can't just say that he or she is a product of only their parents. So something like my best friend who wanted to be a hospitality professional became a doctor, but then she is not, succumbing to the marriage pressure. So she's still working and she still identifies herself in her independent space. So I see that people are not just being pressurized by their parents. So I think that is very important for self-love, to keep listening to yourself at all times, even when friends are saying something else or parents are saying something else, because you have to really maintain yourself and for a healthy life, for good mental health, and everything that we have discussed in this forum.
Yes. So with this, we are good to sign off, and I really thank you, each and every one of you, because you guys have added so much value to this session. So thank you, everyone, and thanks to our lovely audience. With this last note, self-love is all about accepting yourself, the who you are, and try to explore new things. Try to change yourself. जो भी चाहिए और उसकी तरफ बढ़िए, जो है उसको एक्सेप्ट करिए. So with this note, I hope you have a fantastic month ahead. So we will meet you again next month on a second week of Tuesday. Till that time, see you all and have a great time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you.
Lots of love and lots of
Bye.
respect. Bye-bye.
Bye.